The battle is still waging between Houston firefighters and Mayor Sylvester Turner over parity pay with an email dump today. Turner, in his attempt to prove he's tried to negotiate in good faith, released several documents this afternoon showing the details of the negotiations with firefighters. The emails show the city has offered a 29% voter-approved pay raise for firefighters over 5 years. According to the correspondence, there have been 3 meetings since January between the city and the union to negotiate the details. Those emails also show the Firefighters Union is pushing for the Prop B pay raise in 3 years rather than the 5 years offered by the city. Also, the union is asking for increased incentive pay and a wellness center for firefighters. Here to discuss this is attorney Jason Rowe. This has been a mess in the city of Houston since last year, and it doesn't seem like we're coming to a resolution anytime soon because both sides have taken their position, drawn a line in the sand, and they won't come together. One side is offering 5 years, a pay raise over 5 years. Another side is offering 3 years. It's like they should come to a middle ground, maybe 4 years, and try to work that out. But what's the sticking point? You had a chance to read all the emails that the Mayor Sylvester Turner, released today, and his statement, as well as the Houston Firefighters Association. What's the sticking point now?
Well, so this city has trouble negotiating. They've had trouble negotiating prior contracts in the past. Obviously, collective bargaining fell apart, and that's why we ended up with Prop B to begin with. But what the city doesn't realize is that they don't have the bargaining power in this case. So you come to December 20th, on December 19th, the court ordered the mayor to stop stalling on Prop B. He had to implement it immediately. So that's the position that the firefighters are coming from. So the city is facing a full implementation of Prop B immediately. But they come back and they say, well, we'd like to implement over 5 years. And they propose, what they proposed was a partial implementation over 5 years. They did not propose anything to include the incentive pays that were authorized by Prop B. And that's countered in the union's proposal.
And let's make this clear. When we say parity pay, they want the same pay as police officers, the Houston Police Department. And when we say parity pay, we don't just mean the base salary. We mean a complete package when we're talking about incentive pay as well. Now, what we have here, the Houston Police Department, when they have incentive pay, they have access to an annual $12,000 a year, while the firefighters are getting on annual $2,000 a year. So they would like to see an increase in that as well, right? That's
correct. And the voters have authorized certain incentive increases as well. So things like being bilingual is going to be an incentive increase for the fire department, tuition incentives, things like that. So having an advanced degree is going to get you that incentive pay to be on parity with where the police department officers are. But in this case, you have the mayor came to the fire union, and they said, we want to implement this over 5 years. We're asking you to not make us implement it immediately. This is part of the collective bargaining that the city is allowed to do by ordinance in order to try to back out of Prop B in some respects. They're saying we want to implement this over 5 years. And the union came back and said, well, we won't do it for 5 years. We'll do it in 3. And that's already a gift to the city. But they said, in exchange for that gift, we also want to be able to have a wellness center to help treat firefighter injuries. And that's what become controversial as well. But that wellness center to be able to treat firefighter injuries, to be able to educate firefighters, to better take care of firefighters going forward, and then as the incentive pay. Sorry.
So why are we still here when all of this was passed by the voters in 2018, and in 2019 we're still talking about it, and we're still in court on the police union's lawsuit as well as the firefighters' lawsuit? Both of those lawsuits are still in court.
We're here because Mayor Turner, despite his open letter today, is lying. He states that we're here because the firefighters have been delaying this. They're refusing to negotiate. He's blaming the police union for their lawsuit as well as a delay. But when it comes down to it, the firefighters and the police unions wouldn't have had to propose their lawsuits if it weren't for the mayor being able to collect a bargain to begin with. But when the mayor betrayed the firefighters to begin with, you end up with a situation where we have Proposition B being passed, and the mayor trying to spend money to fight the will of the voters. The mayor's open letter reads like a rebuke to the voters. You have the voters who passed it with overwhelming majority, and the mayor's coming in and saying, as mayor, even though we've had this campaign where I stated everything that I'm now telling you in this letter, that I stated that the budget's going to be hurting, that everything else is going to hurt, that I know better.
But wouldn't we actually be in a financial hole if we gave it all in one lump sum?
Well, I will say this. Last year, the mayor's office spent $80 million on management consulting. And that's one lump sum out of the mayor's office.
But that could have been budgeted in, though.
And it possibly was budgeted in. But when you have that management consulting $80 million and you're saying you can't afford $100 million for the firefighters, which is a basic public service, that's a problem.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a mess. Soon it has to be cleared up at some point.